Perfect. Okay, so tell me what's your name, where you're from, and how you became a coach at Seton Hall.
My name is Chris Weathers, and I'm currently the second assistant at Seton Hall University. I graduated from Seton Hall in 2013, and while I was an undergrad here, I worked with Coach Al and the previous head coach as a manager, so I got to see kind of both sides of the coaching world on the court and in the office. And from there, I ended up applying to grad school to get my master's in business administration as a grad assistant. So I was still able to keep volleyball in my life, and while I was getting my master's degree, I was the assistant coach for the program.
Nice. And then, so dealing with pre-recruitment, when you're scouting for a player, what do you look for?
Honestly, it depends on the year, because you're not always looking for the same thing. Obviously, every year you'd love to find that stud athlete, but it's more or less finding what your program needs on a year-to-year basis, and continuous improvement is obviously always looked for as well. So I would just say it changes year to year.
And then when a player's on the sideline, what do you look for?
When a player's on the sideline, I personally try to look for how they're still involved in the game, just to make sure they're either telling the player who's in their position or who plays opposite of them to make sure that they're still communicating. They give them a heads up, they know what's going on. They're not taking themselves out of the game without actually physically not being in the game.
And then when a player makes a mistake, what reactions in a player are you looking for?
I enjoy seeing resilience right away, knowing that they're not taking themselves out. I also like to see when a player doesn't show that they're upset. They can internally be upset, but obviously externally you need to remain calm and cool just so you can be resilient.
And then what interactions between a player and family member, player and team, player and coach are you looking for?
Between player and family member, obviously positivity is always encouraged, but being involved in sports, I know heat of the moment kind of gets to either player or family member. But most importantly, it's just the whole positive motivational. Yes, they can have a hard head, but just to make sure that they keep pushing. But also one who's not always looking back at their parent for either a positive or negative reaction. They're the ones on the court, so they know what's going on. And also the same thing as coach, as a player and coach relationship. You never want a player who continuously looks over to the sideline after every move. I use just a phrase like, we're not plugged in. You can't be plugged into the player, so you're not out there. We don't have the remote, and you're not connected by a cord, so you have to kind of be able to think on your own. If you're definitely unsure, that's when always being able to reference, but it should definitely not be after every single play.
And so you get a lot of recruiting videos. What is something you don't want to see?
Something I don't want to see is things that do not involve your position specifically. I see a lot of middle videos where they're serving, and obviously one of the middles has to serve, but that's not something we're looking for as a middle hitter or middle blocker. Or even liberos attacking. It needs to be directly related to your position, but also I don't enjoy full game clips either. I mean, those are nice, but definitely highlight videos are straight to the point right away, and then if there is some interest, then it's nice to see a full game, but you want to be able to blow a coach away right away. So having a highlight clip definitely grabs the attention first, and then from there, most coaches will then either ask for a full game clip or be able to see you in person. So it's nice to have that little attention grabber at first.
And when you get a bunch of emails, what makes an email stand out from another?
I would say something that makes one email stand out from others is short and straight to the point. I don't really enjoy reading emails that are 6 paragraphs long and they tell me how you were all county this and whatever, because when it comes to college, you're now with the best of the best. So you could be your all county or all city athlete of the year, but when it comes to college, now you're playing with everyone who is that. So just straight to the point and let me know everything about you, position, physical characteristics that separate you from everyone else, and then possibly where I'd be able to watch you play, whether it's your high school schedule or your club schedule, and then again, obviously a video included in the first email also helps.
And when you go to these tournaments or you're looking for a specific player and you're watching maybe a whole team play, what don't you want to see?
I don't enjoy seeing a lot of negative energy or whether it's from player to player, player to coach, because not everyone's perfect. So in volleyball, it is such an emotional game that you can't be negative for an entire set, nor even obviously a point. Sometimes you need to get into it and you need to get people going, but you need to be able to turn that off and on. And I like to see everyone's focused. Don't let things going on other courts distract you, nor what's going on the other side. You're able to control what's on your side of the court. So just a nice focus and positive energy.
What makes a player stand out?
What makes a player stand out? Having just general court awareness. That's whether you're again on the court or off the court, and communication. I think that's the easiest thing to make you stand out with doing the least amount of work, because you can be screaming while you're on the court, screaming while you're on the sideline, but again, just make sure it's not just pointless cheering or pointless communication. Make sure it's always helpful and constructive.
And then how would an athlete know a coach is interested?
An athlete would know that a coach is interested, one, if they've responded back to emails. I would say that's the first kind of clue. Second would be if you get an invite to a camp. That could be an easy way for a coach to be like, hey, we want to see you in our gym, because most coaches aren't allowed to run practices at your high school or club. So running a camp is the easiest way that they're able to see, or that you're able to get a one-on-one connection with a coach. And then obviously, like I said, responding to emails and just any sort of communication that they're having with you, a club coach, club director, or parents.
Perfect.